Hello class, and happy Friday. Okay, before we even start the lesson for today, I would like you to hit the pause button and please make sure that you have the warm-up questions completed at the top of your notes. Alright, so let's go over the warm-up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stack all of my decimals, and I'm going to stack them under the last one. So I'm going to go 13 and 459 thousandths and 13, oops, my pen's not working, 13 and 549 thousandths. Okay, so if I start by looking at my tens column, I can see that they're all the same. If I take that and move to my ones columns, they are also all the same. But if I move to my tenths columns, the first number after the decimal, I can see that I have 2 4s and a 5. But I first need to find the least number, so that means I have to keep going. Okay, if I compare these two decimals, I can see that the 5s are the same, the 9s are the same, and then one has an extra 4. Now remember, we can put as many zeros behind the decimal as we want in order to help us compare. Okay, so if I look, now I have a 0 and a 4, which tells me that this decimal, 13 and 459 thousandths, is the least. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write that number first. And then I go back, and if I look at the tenth spot, I know that 13 and 4,594 ten thousandths is the next smallest. And then my greatest number is 13,549 thousandths. Alright, now on to comparing our decimals using less than, greater than, or equals. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and compare this first one. I'm going to see that my ones are the same, my 3s are the same, my 0 is the same, my 2 is the same, and then I have an extra 0 here. Okay, so if you remember from yesterday, this is what we were talking about, equivalent decimals. Okay, I can add as many zeros as I want to the end of my decimal, and it's not going to change the value. Okay, so if I add a 0 to this one over here, then that would make them equal. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, I see I have a 1, and I have a 1, and then I have a 5 and a 6. Okay, and I know if that 5 is less than 6, so 15, the first number is less than the second number. Okay, and the last one. If I look at the 9 and the 9, the 2 and the 2, 0, 0, 1, 1, and then I look at my 10th spot behind the decimal there, hey, I can see that 0 is less than 9. Okay, nice work. Alright, so if you are looking at your notes, you can see that today you're going to be learning about rounding whole numbers and decimals. Okay, so remember, SOBOT stands for students will be able to round whole numbers and decimals. So by the end of this video, hopefully you understand how to round whole numbers and decimals. So there are 2 major rules to think about when you're rounding whole numbers and decimals. Okay, so if I list my numbers 0 to 9, 2, okay, rule 1 says if the number to the right is greater than or equal to 5, we round that value up. Okay, so if my numbers are 5 or bigger, that's going to cause the number to round up. Okay, so if I look at this 6 right here, okay, remember when you round, you always look to the number to the right. So I'm going to look at my 8, and that's going to tell me what's going to happen to my 6. So my 8 falls under rounding up. Okay, so that would make my 6 go to a 7. Okay, so when you're rounding, you always keep the numbers in front or to the left of the underlined digit. Okay, and then I'm going to change my underlined digit to a 7, and then I'm going to make that rest of them zeros. Okay, they act as placeholders. Rule number 2 states that if the number to the right is less than 5, we keep the underlined value the same. Okay, so this includes 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, that would make it the same. Okay, so my underlined digit here is this 4. So that means I'm going to look at the 4 right next to it to tell me what to round. Okay, if I look at my chart over on the side here, I can see that 4 is under the category of keeping it the same. So that means my underlined digit here is going to stay 4, and then everything after it is going to become zeros. Now, it works the same exact way whether you have whole numbers like we just did or decimals. Okay, so if we look at our first two examples in our notes, hey, we can see we have 45,823. Okay, my 5 is underlined. That means I'm going to look to my 8 to see what is going to happen to my 5. Hey, I can see on my chart over on the side here that my 8 is bigger than 5, so that means it's going to round up. So my 5 is now going to become a 6 because that's 1 bigger than 5, and then all the rest of the digits are going to be 0. Okay, so 45,823 rounds to 46,000 when I'm looking at the thousandth spot. Okay, now let's look at our second number, 93,876 and 456 thousandths. Okay, my 6 is underlined here, so that means I need to look at my 4. Okay, my 4 is going to make it stay the same. Okay, so I'm going to keep everything in front of the 6 the same number. Okay, because the 4 is less than 5, the 6 is also going to stay the same. Now, you may place a 0 after the decimal, but really remember any zeros after the decimal, if there's no other digits behind it, okay, are unnecessary. So I can just write my number, 93,876. All right, let's do two more together. All right, in the number 2,997, you can see that the first 9 is underlined. Okay, that 9 is in my 100 spot, so I need to look at the 9 right behind it. Okay, and 9 is 5 or bigger, so I'm going to round up. Now, the tricky part about this is that my first digit here is a 9. Okay, what's bigger than a 9 is 10. So instead of keeping the 2 and changing the 9, okay, when that 9 rounds up, that's going to make 10, so I need to add 1 to 2 to make 3, and then the rest become zeros. Okay, it's kind of like taking 29 and making 1 bigger and going to 30. Okay, so 2,997 when rounded to the 100 spot actually turns into 3,000. Okay, let's look at number 4. 12 and 789 thousandths. Okay, I'm looking at my 7, so that means I have to look back at my 8. Okay, that's also bigger than 5, so we still need to round up. Okay, if I look at my 7, 1 bigger than 7 is 8, so it's going to turn into 12 and 8 tenths. All right, why don't you go ahead and pause your video again and try 5 through 8 first, and then we'll go over them together. All right, number 5, you should have 67,209, and you are rounding to the nearest 10,000. Okay, so I have my 6, and I look at my 7. 7 is 5 or above, so I'm going to make my 6 go up and turn into 70,000. Okay, I now have number 6, 43 and 97 thousandths. Okay, so I look at my 3, the number to the right of 3 is 0. Okay, well 0 is less than 5, so it's going to stay the same. So my number is just going to stay 43. All right, last two. Okay, so you have 32 and 567 thousandths. My 5 is underlined, so I look at my 6. 6 is above 5, so my 5 is going to add 1 and turn into 6. So I have 32 and 6/10. Okay, and the last one that you should have done is one of those tricky ones again. Okay, so I have 99,068. Okay, I have a 9 here, and then I look at my second 9. Okay, well that 9 is bigger than 5, so it's going to round up. Well, 1 bigger than 9 is 10. So I have my 10, and then I add 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros to the end. Okay, so that number will round up to 100,000. All right, now we're going to work on rounding the number to the place value that's given. So now you'll just have the place value given to you, and you first have to find that place value and then round. Okay? It might be a good idea to use your notes from Monday and Tuesday and your charts to help you make sure that you have the right place to start. All right, so we're going to jump right into the 3 examples that you have in your notes. Okay, and we're going to round the number to the place value given. So my first number is 35,987,453, and I have to round to the 10 millionths place. Okay, well I have my first decimal means thousands, my second decimal means millions, and then my tens is that 3. Okay, that means I have to look at my 5. Now, according to my chart, if the number is 5 or bigger, I need to round up. So 1 bigger than 3 is 4. So in the end, I should get 40 million. Number 10. Okay, 24,865. And I have to round to the 1,000ths place. So first I have to find that. Well, I know my comma means 1,000. Okay, and in my 1,000ths place is my 4. Okay, that means I have to look at my 8. So once again, 8 is 5 or bigger, so that is going to make me round up. So this 4 is going to become 1 more, and I'm going to have 25,000. All right, why don't you try the last one on your own? So hit pause, and then we'll continue on after that. All right, so let's double check your work. So 1/100ths. Okay, so that means this TH means it's after the decimal. Okay, so I look at my tens, and then my 3 is in my 100th spot. So that means I'm looking at this 4. Okay, the 4 is less than 5, so that means I'm going to stay the same. Okay, so my answer should be 4,598 and 73 hundredths. Okay, remember everything before that digit stays the same, and then everything after it becomes zeros. But because it's a decimal, I don't need to include my zeros after it. Okay, those aren't necessary. So I can just write it that way. All right, nice work today. Hey, I want to see how we did on our lesson. Okay, so I want you to take this quiz. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this website right here, and you're going to type it into your web browser like we talked about yesterday in class. Okay, after you're done with that, you need to go up to the sub and show your completed notes in order to get your assignment. Okay, that assignment will be due on Tuesday, so make sure that you get done. Also, a reminder, we have NWA testing on Monday and Tuesday this week. Okay, so in order to keep your and make sure that your devices are charged, you need to leave your devices and chargers with your advisory teacher after school today. Okay? Don't forget, because if we don't have your devices charged, then we will not be able to take our NWA test on Monday, and that would not be good. Okay? I hope you guys have a great weekend. Make sure that you're getting all your work done, and I will see you on Monday.